What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. So believe it or not, Xiaomi is back with another mid-range device. The one that we have today, it's called the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. And just as the name suggests, this phone is better than the Redmi Note 11 Pro that we got about a month ago. And in today's video I'm gonna go over what's new with this one, the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus compared to the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Now, I've also included a camera comparison between this phone and my iPhone 13, and the main reason why I'm including that comparison is so you can see what a mid-range device like this can do when compared to a flagship like the iPhone 13. And if you're here just so you can check out that camera comparison, that one starts at this minute of this video. So let's start with the biggest change between the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, so this one, and the Redmi Note 11 Pro. So this one supports 120 watt fast charging when compared to 67 watt fast charging that we got on the Redmi Note 11 Pro. So this one will charge faster, and I've actually done a full charging test video and I'll leave a link to that in the video's description or the top right corner if you wanna see how fast this phone charges from 0 to 100. And of course you're gonna get a fast charger in the box with it. Another thing that's different with this one are the speakers. So now we have JBL tuned speakers, and the speakers do get louder and they sound more sophisticated, I'm gonna say. And this is a quick example just so you can hear how the speakers on this device sound like. But they sound like a flagship now. So let me show you that quick example. We also get a more powerful CPU with this device. Now we have the MediaTek Dimensity 920, and of course with the more powerful CPU we are gonna get higher scores on the Antutu benchmark and of course on Geekbench 5. Now performance wise I haven't actually noticed the difference between this one and the Redmi Note 11 Pro. So whenever you're using both of them, they're both just as fast, even though this one is more powerful technically. But for gaming and day-to-day usage, you're not actually gonna find that big of a difference. So they're both very fast. I got to play PUBG on this device the other day for a few hours, and even at the maximum graphics settings for PUBG, it does perform quite well. Actually, just as good as I would get from my Samsung Galaxy S22. So these days, most phones that you're gonna find available on the market are just that powerful. So most applications, well, all applications that you're gonna be using on them are gonna work really well. And that of course is the case with this one. So for gaming, this one will do great, and it doesn't actually get that hot. It actually stays warmish, but it never gets as hot as a flagship. We also get a 6.67-inch AMOLED screen that has a 1080p resolution and a refresh rate of 120Hz, and the peak brightness on this screen is 1200 nits, so no problems taking the phone outside in direct sunlight and seeing it outside. So one of the best looking screens at this price range, I'm gonna say. So yes, there are a few things that are different when compared to the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Mostly that faster charging, the better CPU, and the better speakers. And the cameras on the back here are also a bit different. And I guess that brings us to my camera comparison between this phone and my iPhone 13. Okay, so we are starting with some pictures I took with the main cameras on the back of these two devices, and of course all the pictures are taken on auto mode and maybe about a second apart from each other, maybe less than that. Now, the day when I was taking these pictures wasn't the most perfect day for picture taking, I'm gonna say. It was overcast, it was sunny at times, but overall not the best conditions for taking pictures. If you look at the pictures taken by the iPhone 13, most of them look a bit yellowish, even though it wasn't that sunny out on that particular day. So I feel that for color accuracy, for this challenging day, I'm gonna say, the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus did a bit better because the colors that we got from the pictures from it are a bit closer to what I was seeing with my own eyes. So the pictures from the iPhone 13 are a bit over-processed, I'm gonna say, and that yellow that you see in them is kind of artificial. Leaving the color science aside, it seems the dynamic range in most pictures taken by the iPhone 13 is still better, but other than that everything is kind of equal, and overall I feel that I prefer the daytime pictures taken with the main camera from the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, but definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Next, we're gonna move on to some zoom pictures, and here I've done 2 times zoom, and here it seems that the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus does better. That 108 megapixel main camera definitely makes a difference for those 2 times zoom pictures. So here you can definitely see that the pictures from the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus are sharper than the pictures that I took with the iPhone 13. So for the 2 times zoom pictures, I feel that the Redmi device does better once again than the iPhone 13. Moving on to some portrait mode pictures, well, even though the edge detection around the subject is fairly similar from both devices, I feel dynamic range in those pictures, well, pretty much in all those pictures, is better from the iPhone 13. I also find the colors from the iPhone 13, mostly the colors of the subject, so myself and Laura, a bit better and more natural looking from the iPhone 13. So for portrait mode pictures, I feel the iPhone 13 did better than the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. Moving on to some pictures that I took with the ultra-wide cameras on their backs, well, here it seems that every single picture taken by the iPhone 13 is better. First of all, better dynamic range, not to mention that the iPhone 13 has the wider field of view for that ultra-wide camera, so you can definitely see more in those pictures, like capture a wider field of view than you can with the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. So for the ultra-wide camera, I prefer the iPhone 13. Next, we're gonna move on and check out some nighttime pictures that I took with this device and of course with my iPhone 13 using the night modes available on both devices. So the night mode is available for the main camera and for the ultra-wide camera. So we are starting with the pictures that I took with the main cameras. Well, here in super dark situations, of course, the iPhone 13 does better. The Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, well, the pictures from it, you can barely see anything in those super dark pictures. At least to the iPhone 13 you can kind of see in those pictures, even though the pictures are not as sharp, but at least you can kind of see what's happening in those pictures. The same kind of goes for other situations that are challenging, or you have a powerful light in one place and darkness around that. So once again, the iPhone 13 does better. So overall, for the main camera and that night mode, there is no comparison in between the two. The iPhone 13 does seem to do better. Moving on to the ultra-wide cameras and of course the night mode used for those ultra-wide cameras, well, here the iPhone 13 doesn't do that great anymore, but that's been the case for a while, and I feel that the ultra-wide camera on the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus actually does a bit better than its main camera. So the night mode and darkness, I feel that the ultra-wide camera is a bit better, maybe. I mean, the pictures aren't super sharp, they aren't super bright. So for the ultra-wide cameras and night mode, I'm gonna say that neither device does that great, but if I would have to choose one out of the two, I still think that the iPhone 13 does a bit better, even though not by much. So there you have it, night modes, main cameras and ultra-wide cameras. Next, we are moving on and checking out some sample videos that I took with both these devices. Now, with the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, we actually get 4K recordings. With the Redmi Note 11 Pro, the maximum recording resolution for the main camera was 1080p at 30 frames per second, if I remember right. But with this one, you can actually do 4K at 30 frames per second, even though at that resolution we don't get image stabilization anymore. So I'm gonna let you guys watch some sample recordings that I've done, and definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts about the video capabilities of this device. Alright, we have a quick video test between the iPhone 13 and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. For this recording, I'm using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and recording at 4K at 30 frames per second. That is the maximum recording resolution for the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. All the other Redmi Note 11s could only do 1080p at 30 frames per second. So the resolution on this one is higher. We're gonna walk this way. I don't believe that the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus has image stabilization. I couldn't find any settings for that under the camera settings. But of course, with the iPhone 13, we do get image stabilization at that resolution. So we're gonna stop here. We're gonna pan left slowly. And we'll continue. So basically towards the sun. And we'll walk this way for a bit. So yeah, this is how a recording with the main cameras on the back of these two devices would look like if you're recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. And we're moving on to our second video test, but for this video test I'm using the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices. Now if you're using the ultra-wide camera on the back of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, the maximum recording resolution is 1080p at 30 frames per second. Where of course the maximum recording resolution for the iPhone 13 is 4K at 60 frames per second. Now from what I'm seeing on the screens here, the image looks steadier on the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus when compared to the recordings that I've done earlier in 4K at 30 frames per second with that main camera. So yeah, this is how recording done with the ultra-wide lenses would look like. Alright, we have a quick video test in low light between the iPhone 13 and of course the Xiaomi Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. For this recording I'm using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. We're gonna stop here. I'm gonna pan right slowly. I'm trying to keep the phones as steady as possible, of course. And I guess we'll walk this way for a bit. So yeah, this is how recording done in low light between these two devices would look like if you're recording in 4K at 30 frames per second and using the main cameras on their backs. So it was interesting seeing that the ultra-wide camera on the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus does better than its main camera, at least in my opinion, because you get steadier footage and the footage actually looked really good in 1080p at 30 frames per second from that ultra-wide camera. But overall, of course, there is no comparison. The iPhone 13 does better for video recordings, but this one is also double the price, so keep that in mind. Moving on to some selfies. Well, for selfies, it seems that the iPhone 13 does better for daytime selfies and for nighttime selfies. Unfortunately, I forgot to take more daytime selfies, so I'm only showing you one selfie that I took during the day. But overall, yes, the iPhone 13 does seem to do better for selfies. So there you have it. This is the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. What do you guys think? Is this phone better than the Redmi Note 11 Pro? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.